Welcome to the Big Bad Bantah podcast. I'm your host, Papa Bruin, and this is episode 7. It's Phil Esposito and Ray Bork before he gave his number to Phil Esposito. So welcome to the Big Bad Bantah podcast. Say that 5 times fast. I am being joined by our friend and fellow Umass Lowell Riverhawk, Andrew Johnson from the Short Shift podcast. As you can see, it's up here on the screen because we're doing this up on the YouTuber as well. He is also a writer for Black and Gold Productions and also goes Umass Lowell, as I mentioned. So I want to welcome Andrew to the show. Thank you for joining us, Andrew.
Thank you for having me, buddy. It's good to be here.
So just showing you and also going to show his podcast here. He has a really cool opening, unlike mine, who I just basically use a CD, which no one uses anymore. So check him out on the Spotify machine and all that under the Short Shift podcast. So we're going to get right into it, my friend. We're going to get into, actually just leave it right on here. The week that was, okay? So we kind of go over the last, like you do on yours, right? The last week of games, even though the Bruins only seem to play 2 games, a week now with all the COVID stuff. So the New Jersey game, after a loss to the Islanders, who seem to have their number, which I thought the teams that give the Bruins hell would be the Flyers, who they've owned, Pittsburgh, who they've owned, and Washington, who they pretty much have owned. But they're struggling a little bit against the Islanders and the Devils. So I don't know, I'm sure you watch the Nesson broadcast and they do that hot and cold thing, which I hate like hot fire because they always seem to jinx the Bruins constantly. As you can see, Palmieri was the cold guy, and what did he do? He scored 2 goals. So what do you think of that game? Was that a letdown game or just, they weren't awake? I mean, they had so many days off and, what do you think?
That was definitely a letdown game. I think that it was more of a letdown. I think it was less excusable than the Islanders game.
Right.
With the Islanders game, they were coming off their 3rd game in the four nights, and by the 2nd period, they were absolutely gassed. But they had time to prepare for this Devils team who had played, I believe, 1 game in the last 15 days.
Right, COVID, yep.
Yep, due to COVID, due to their COVID shenanigans. And it was probably, it's probably the worst game I've seen them play this year.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Completely agree.
And even then they were like within a gnat's wing of tying the game. So, but it definitely shows the resolve that the team has. Mm-hmm. But I hated how they looked. They were very sluggish throughout the evening.
Garbage.
They were garbage.
Yeah. I thought, I know that Cassie was, juggling up the lines because, again, they're too top heavy. We've been saying this for 3-4 years now, or actually probably since Iginla left because they don't have a second line really, winger for Kurchi yet.
Weather reporter extraordinaire Jerome Iginla.
Yeah, I know, that was hilarious. I didn't even know he moved here. But then Krejci got hurt, and then Pasta. We'll get into the Lake Tahoe game in a moment. Ever since he had that outburst against the Capitals and the Rangers, he's been like no show. He did nothing for us at all. And then I think Bjork looked really good. I think he was the lone bright spot of the whole game because it was a snoozer of a game. And then speaking of garbage.
Lindy Ruff hockey. That's Lindy Ruff hockey. Lindy Ruff hockey is, I say this on the latest episode of Short Shift, which will be coming out very soon.
Sweet. Awesome.
That Lindy Ruff hockey is that late 90s, early aughts, clog the zone, and you can't get any transition or traction edgewise.
Right.
And just combined with Cassidy's style, which is a more modernized version of the Lindy Ruff clog the zone, neutral zone trap. It was a snoozer. The Devils do have some very solid players, but it's the mid pack of the East that appears to be giving them issues.
It's shocking to me. Well, the Islanders, I mean, they did go to the conference finals, even though it was kind of a messed up year with the bubble and all this and COVID, but they did get there, right? They got some good talent with Barzal, as we all know. The Bruins passed him up 3 times. But those games happen, and they lost to the Devils, I believe, earlier this year too, at the beginning of the season when their offense was sputtering. But I got to ask you about again, the Tahoe game, certain players who have been sticking up the joint actually played pretty decent, but John Moore, my God, can we get less of him, please? 2.75 million a year for him. What are your thoughts on John Moore, man? God, kills me.
Well, I will say, in respect to the game that he had at Lake Tahoe, and I tweeted this, if we had seen any of his Lake Tahoe performance at any juncture during his time with the Bruins, we would not be worried about him making 2.75 million. But when I talk about the Devils game, the one play that sticks out in my mind is Andreas Janssen coming up the side.
Oh, yes.
John Moore defending him, and Janssen makes the most basic lateral skating move that you learn when you lace him up for the first time, and Moore looked like he got twisted up by Connor McDavid.
Yeah, it was awesome. He was definitely like a pretzel. He's not. I mean, for the money, I'm going to say bye to our friends that saw the behind the scenes on Facebook. We're going to say goodbye. But yeah, he's for the money we're paying him. I'm sure like they could get someone cheaper and like hungrier and with more skill. I don't know. And then Halak didn't look great, but of course we all know that Halak can do no wrong.
Oh my God.
Well, we'll get into Tuukka hate in a moment. I want to really tackle, not just, I want to like kind of embrace the spectacle, the awesomeness that was the Tahoe game. Mm-hmm. And if you see it on our screen right now, and you got to see the Bruins. I have not seen a team embrace the outdoor games more than the Bruins. Now, if you remember the Notre Dame game, they were dressed as the Peaky Blinders dudes, had all the old school clothes on for the 20s or what have you. Now they bring out, if you can see on the screen here, they bring out the fluorescence. I mean, look at Marchand. Now, I was born in 73, so I grew up in the 80s and 90s. Now, to me, this looks more 80s to me than 90s. Now, I could be wrong, but, 90s got a little more dark and, with God, I can't believe it. Grunge. God, it was terrible. I can't remember. With grunge music and everything else, it got kind of, went from flamboyant to more, laid back and more tamed. So maybe, this was 1990-ish, maybe. That's what people told me. But I thought this was great, fun. You had Pasta wearing the Macho Man glasses. I mean, I thought it was great.
I marked out for that one. That was awesome.
Dude, that was fantastic. And plus, he has the lettuce growing anyway, like the Macho Man. I think I might have one of my photos up here. We actually, at Big Bad Bruins Nation, we put a shirt together that we basically have Pasta the Bull here with the glasses on. We have to slap those glasses on him for this T-shirt, right? And it went pretty well. But so let's get to the spectacle of the game. I know the Colorado Avalanche and the Vegas Knights had a horrible time the day before because I learned many things about Lake Tahoe. One, I did not know that the lake does not freeze, as we saw boats on the water. I also like the elevation that the sun is so strong that it melts the ice right away. So what do you think of that? I mean, what do you think about that Colorado? They played at midnight. What a debacle that was.
First of all, the NHL sometimes I love hockey more than anything.
Yep.
The NHL couldn't find their own ass with both hands on a map sometimes.
True story. Like, I think they've got better over I would say the last half dozen years, but prior to that, they were, Bettman, with every lockout, screw ups on and on and on. But go ahead, continue.
Yeah. Well, the NHL is awful at promoting their own game. They're awful at pre-planning. I mean, how do you not foresee this happening? You need to have contingency plans for shit like this.
I know.
It's inexcusable. And Bill Daley, the deputy commissioner, came out after they delayed the Vegas and Colorado game and was like,
sure,
we have two options here. They could play at midnight or they could play at 7 a.m. It's like, what?
Jesus, what a mess. I know. You think, they had this plan for quite some time now. Originally, I was with all the COVID and, they aligned the divisions the way they did because they did not want people to travel. So when I heard that they would, now Colorado and Vegas, I can understand it because that's not much of a travel and that's kind of in the division, if you will. Where the Bruins and Philly flying all the way across the country with everything that's going on, I felt that like, what are they doing? They're kind of going against everything they're talking about. And then I saw that again, I didn't know Lake Tahoe didn't freeze. So I thought they were playing on the lake. And they're like, no, the lake doesn't freeze. And they're playing on a golf course. I'm like, a golf course?
Yeah,
really?
they were playing on the 17th hole.
I was like, really?
Yeah.
But then when I saw it live and I saw the backdrop, and after the sun went down, because I think the sun caused issues with the shadows and things like that, I thought it was incredible. I thought it was magnificent. What'd you think?
The scenery was fantastic. It made me want more of the lake backdrops.
Yes, right.
And, they're talking about maybe next year having it on Lake Placid, which I'm all about that.
Right.
But and that's part of the reason why they had it in the daylight too, because they wanted to accentuate they wanted to accentuate the views.
Yeah,
but you got to be practical about it too.
Yeah. Again,
it looked great in the night. It looked great in the nighttime. That scene where there's a scene where the camera was pulled back.
Yeah.
Pointing at the net, and Charlie uncorks a clapper as the sun has set. Perfect.
Oh yeah. I saw that. Yeah, I saw that clip on Twitter. Very good. So going to the game here. I mean, I was coming back from the bathroom and Pasta already scored. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Mm-hmm. And then everybody said you had plenty of time to go to the bathroom, because they even delayed it a half an hour, right? The game was delayed till 8.
Right. Because of the sun.
Yeah, that was a great pass from Marchand right over to Pasta. I think that was a tough pass because of the sunlight. I think that to have that happen. So the Bruins get up 2-1, and then we have McAvoy slip, and before you know it, the Bruins are actually down 2-1. But McAvoy came back, made up for his mistake, tied the game up, and then it was like the Pasta show, and then Hart just disintegrating in the Philadelphia Nets. God, I don't know how many long unblocked, and he could completely see field of vision. He just missed.
That Frederick goal, you cannot give that up.
No, that was terrible. That was bad. The Pasta's second goal was just C&I don't know how he scored. That was incredible. That was just under the
no
crossing.
angle.
No, not at all. And he just found a way. And he's just, when he's engaged like that, he's again one of the best. But he does get lazy, man. Like that New Jersey, he gets lazy on D. I think a lot of these really gifted offensive players get lazy. I mean, they do. Some of them just Gretzky and Mario weren't the best defensive players of all time. That's for sure.
Mario was a cherry picker, definitely.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. But the Bruins stormed back. Philly, they're missing Giroux and a couple other players because of the COVID. So, honestly, they didn't put up much of a fight after the Bruins took the lead. I mean, it was pretty much over. But like you said, Coyle scored, which is good because he had to get going. Frederick scored because, that was good to get his first goal. Moore, it turns out he didn't score. I guess it was Big Dick Nick Ritchie scored.
Big Dick Nick.
Yeah. That's a steal from what they called Nick Foles when they beat the Patriots, but he's no longer relevant at all. So I
exactly that's why the mantle goes to Nick.
Yeah, I decided to transfer it over. Nick Foles, if you have a problem, you can call me. But anyway, I just thought that was a solid game, and the Bruins just own Philadelphia's ass. I mean, they really do. They just even the games that they were fully had a full team, they beat them too. So and some of them were in comeback fashion. So when you blow that many leads against a team, they're in your head now, man. I think the Bruins were in Philly's head.
Bruins are definitely in Philly's head. The Bruins match up very well with Philly because Philly is probably, I call them good slow. They're a very good
slow. I like that.
they're a very good team, but they do not have team speed. They are a very slow
big team. Yeah,
they're a big team. They can punish you, but the Bruins have speed and can punish you, and that's their.
Absolutely. So again, I think it was a great night overall. Like I said, the boats, the snow, the shadows, everything about it was just cool. The 90s clothes, like we mentioned. I just think it was actually, the one thing I have to say that was terrible was Rutledge Wood. This dude.
I hate that guy. I muted the TV every time he was on the ice.
Let me bring him up here because I had a picture of him. I think, this is Rutledge Wood, people. So I was giving the bird. So he makes Pierre Maguire seem like a Rhodes Scholar, like a TED Talk. This guy was just, I guess he does NASCAR too, somebody said. He just sucks. I'm sorry. He brought nothing to the game. And the awkward moment he was talking to the Olympian, I believe she was sitting there and they were talking. It was just, of course they got the mask on, everything's muffled. So it was just awkward, dude. It was terrible.
Do you remember back when Dan Duquette Jr. did the social media minute on Nesson.
Yes, that was awkward as hell too. Yes.
He reminds me of that guy.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. That is, dude. Nesson, Nesson can't really do much right. Besides Billy Jaffe, I love Billy Jaffe. And
Billy Jaffe's the man.
Billy
And
Jaffe
Barry Peterson
and Barry too. Yeah, Dale brings nothing to me, and I'm sorry, I'm not a big Jack fan. I rather listen.
I used to love him. Now I'd rather scoop my own ears out with a melon ball.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, and let's segue now into what I really want to talk about with you, because this is how we actually met and so forth. Is, I tweeted out, "Hey people, would you rather have Hart or Rask right now?" After you saw what just went on, right? Everybody's saying that maybe Philadelphia is destroying another goalie, which is completely true. So you may follow me. You probably know that I'm a big Tuukka supporter, but I'm one of those Tuukka supporters that will call him out if he doesn't look good. Like I've done it many times, but everybody thinks I'm like completely like
as you should.
Polishing his balls all the time, which I'm not doing. Okay, so I call it the game as I see it, but I haven't really heard much Tuukka talk lately because they're playing pretty well again. But soon as he let any goal he lets in, it could be Connor McDavid, Lemieux, and Gretzky coming on 3-on-0, and it would be Rask's fault. It'd be Rask's fault again. He could do no right. He should have stopped. He got to stop every single shot. He quits on his team. On and on and on. And I talked about, you probably have heard it all too, right? 2010 series versus Philly, 2013 Cup, 2019 Cup, all blamed to Tuukka Rask. Finland, the game against Ottawa when we had the shits, like on and on and on. So I did some research and I'm like, so you look back at 2010, he won the job as a 22-year-old kid from Tim Thomas. Okay. So he goes there. They win the first series against Buffalo. They go out 3-0 against Philly. They go out, that's when Krejci got hurt. He broke his wrist. And then everything started going off the rails then. And they just crumbled and died. Now I think
David Krejci was the only reason Miro Shatan had a pulse.
I remember Miro from the Sabres series. I believe he scored a overtime, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, he was a beast in that series. But once Krejci went down, he was nowhere to be found.
Right. So Krejci is every time they've gone to the Cup, Krejci has been like their top performer offensively. So, but I looked at two statistics. I'm not a big statistics guy, as you may know. I'm kind of the fan guy, statistics until I have to make an argument, and I'll bring it to the table.
Right.
To the 2013 Cup, okay, against Chicago. Now, on paper, Chicago was a better team. Let's be honest. They won 3 cups for a reason.
It was the only cup I wasn't sad about losing, if that makes any sense.
No, not at all. Like Tays and Kane and Seabrook and Corey Crawford, they had Hossa. They were stacked. Yeah. And the Bruins went to overtime a few games with them. Yeah. And they had that 6-5 loss that in overtime at home, which cost them the series pretty much. That's my take.
Yep.
But for you to blame Tuukka, and Tuukka's numbers were off the hook good in that series, which were very comparable to Tim Thomas. And even he shut down Pittsburgh, which that was Malkin and Crosby 8 years younger. And also, the Rangers too, which were good, right?
Yeah. I believe in the Pittsburgh series, he gave up 2 goals in 4 games.
Against a loaded team. They were loaded,
yes.
Right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, I guess that doesn't count. So people say this were big games. Well, he had to win big games to get to the Cup. So every playoff game is a big game, by the way, just to break it to everybody. And then against Chicago, again, they made mistakes. I remember a goal went off Ferrets. They had bad puck luck. They had bad things going on. But I believe that series, yes, that was the series. The Bruins were like a negative.
Game 6 goes to overtime if Johnny Boychuk moves his goddamn feet.
Yeah, Boychuk, the defense completely power like the Red Sea. And the team was a -23 that series, right? The whole roster. So I'm not a big numbers guy, but plus minus tells you a lot that they basically couldn't get the job done defensively against Chicago. They just couldn't do it. All right. They weren't clutch. The Bruins are not a clutch team in the Cup. They're not. They're 6-14 all time. That's not clutch. That's less than, that is the complete polar opposite of clutch. So, and then you go to 2019. Okay, Toronto series again was a struggle. They beat Columbus, and then they steamrolled. The Hurricanes. But then you get St. Louis, gave them everything they could handle. They should have won that series if their first line showed up. Pasta didn't show up.
Achari was tripped.
Yeah, that game too. Achari, the trip. Yep. You had Coyle play. You got Coyle and Johansson were good trades. It helped them out for sure. But again, there's no reason they shouldn't have won that series. They were -11 that series. Okay. So again, they are not, I blame Tuukka part of it too. I mean, it's a team effort on both of those losses in those series.
Sure, he's not like, just because you say that the team that the team shoulders more blame, it doesn't absolve Tuukka. I think that's the thing where Tuukka supporters, not Tuukka supporters, I'm sorry,
Haters.
Tuukka haters get tripped up, is that when we say other people were also at fault, we're not saying that we are polishing Tuukka's balls, as you said.
Right. I just
and I actually made a tweet like right before I came here. There's a article on San Jose Hockey Now that says basically Martin Jones has one foot in the grave and another on a banana peel.
Oh, remember that? Remember we showed Martin Jones?
And I said, okay, so the anti-Tuukka contingent should have stopped being taken seriously 6 years ago when people were frothing at the mouth for Don Sweeney to keep Martin Jones over Tuukka.
How'd that work
Now
out?
Martin Jones has imploded.
So what do you have with the Sharks? A couple good years. That was it. And then
He had 1 year that could probably be considered really good, and that was their cup run. And admittedly, in his cup run, which he lost, take note, Bruins fans.
Yeah, he lost.
The cup run, which Martin Jones lost, he was really good throughout it. They just ran into the Penguins.
Right, the Penguins are the Penguins, right? So, again, would you I bet there's probably about 26 to 25 teams in the league that would take Tuukka Rask yesterday. Okay, so again, you got to blame when your team craps the bed in championship moments. You have to blame the whole team. Like that game 7 against St. Louis, I knew they were cooked. I knew they cooked after the first period because they showed. The first line was dead. They showed no, like this year, like comeback ability, if that's a word. I'll make it up.
The Marchands might change is what got me.
Right. You know what I mean? So again, let's be smart and like everybody's like Halak. Well, Halak didn't, he didn't do much in the playoffs, did he? He won that series against the Carolina a couple of games and then Lightning exposed him. So he's not your answer either. The Vladar, is he any good? I know there's one kid that they covet. You probably know him down in Providence. That he's Swayman.
Daniel Vladar and Jeremy Swayman, I think, are both legit.
Okay, they are legit.
Goalie prospects. And that's fine, but they're not ready yet.
Right. So maybe this is Halak. Did he sign a 1-year contract? Right. So
he's up after this.
Maybe this is when the new kid comes up next year, right? And see what he's got.
I think it's probably going to be Vladar. It's probably going to be Vladar.
Yeah, I didn't think I don't.
There was actually an argument during the off season that we should that I saw. I was completely serious that we should trade Tuukka Rask and let Swayman go from UMaine to the Bruins.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, the depths that the haters, people go.
Oh God, the minion come under the bridges and all that, like led by Ryan Richard. I don't know if you're on my Facebook page, but he's like the ringleader, which I invited him. So he's like Batman. I'm like Batman. He's the Joker. If you remember the Dark Knight, we need each other. We need each other to exist.
Yeah, you guys hate each other, but there's a
mutual respect to a way. Ryan Richard, I'm talking to Ryan Richard. Don't get too excited about it. But I asked him to come on the show. He didn't. None of the Tuukka haters showed up. No one. So that just tells you a lot. Because if you believe in it, come and talk about it. All right. So we're going to segue, because I'm sure you have a lot to tell, add to this argument about. Because I remember when the Bruins lost to the Islanders, I mentioned Barzal, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's over. You got to move on." And I'm like, I'm not moving on from that draft. I mean, I'm sorry. You had 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 number 1 picks mid-round, or even probably top third, and you got your best players, DeBrusk, and honestly, he at best is probably on a 1 to 10, a 6 at best. And Zaboral, what do you think? I mean, what do you think now, looking back 6 years later, about this draft?
I think okay. All right.
Reset.
All right. So, my family had a saying back in the day. Be grateful for what you have in your cupboard.
Yep.
And if you can bally about missed draft picks until about every draft that has ever existed.
Right.
If you take the draft as a whole, if I were to tell you that out of 10 draft picks, 7 of them got NHL time without any context whatsoever, what would you say?
Oh, good Lord, help us. That's it.
I'm serious. I'm serious.
I know.
Yeah. Okay, admittedly, the only one that I'm not the only pick that I'm still not thrilled with was Zach Senyshyn. And even he looks like he's taking a step in progress.
Well, I think everybody said in the draft when the draft got, the mock drafts came up, and even when they drafted him, they said he was a stretch. Mm-hmm. I remember those words. He is a stretch, 'cause I never heard of him. Now, if I'm not mistaken, you correct me if I'm wrong, they were trying to package all those guys for Hanifin, correct?
That is correct, yes.
And what has he become? He's been traded once or twice already, right?
Noah Hanifin? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He went from the Canes, right, to Calgary?
Yes.
In the Hamilton trade, right?
That's correct.
So what has Hanifin, because you may know more, because I'm kind of in a, like this, but back in the 90s, I knew almost every team and every player and every team, but now I'm more television with the Bruins. What has Hanifin done?
Hanifin is a borderline second pair defenseman who gets power play time.
So now looking back at it now, say the Bruins traded the Zaboral pick and decision pick for Hanifin, would you have been happy with that?
No.
Okay, revisionist history. I know we're doing revisionist history, but
it is because you can't answer that question without hindsight.
Right. Of course, right.
But I'm taking into account of that whole draft. Jake DeBrusk is as streaky as he is a solid second liner.
Right.
Zaboral is looking like he belongs in the NHL.
So what do you think? If you top 4, you thinking of top 4? He's a top 4?
He's got potential to be top 4. He's not there yet.
Okay.
They're still sheltering his minutes, but I think that they took the right approach in his development.
No, slow.
It's slow. It is slow. It was slow development. But here's the thing about a lot of the people that they missed: Kyle Connor, Brock Besser, Thomas Chabot, Matt Barzal. What do those 4 players have in common? Other than that they are legitimately really good. What do those 4 players have in common?
What's that?
Those 4 teams could not afford to develop them. They had to bring them
insert them right away. Right.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, and the Bruins had a log jam. Yep. With talent and defensemen and forwards and all that stuff. I get it.
Exactly.
But you just see Barzal, like, Jesus, imagine if they got DeBrusk and Barzal. Like, geez, they would be set for a long time. I mean,
but Barzal's a beast. Barzal is a beast. I'm not gonna sit here and say none of those players would fit the Bruins, because they would. But when you're taking who they drafted and just kind of doing a little tunnel vision with that,
right?
Zaboral is solid. Brandon Carlo, hot take, is probably going to be the hottest take that I bring here. Brandon Carlo will be the next captain of the Boston Bruins when.
Everybody was like in shock when he got the A, and I'm like, I'm not shocked at all.
Yeah, no, he's going to be the next captain. He's a solid stay-at-home defenseman who's finally starting to realize that, hey, I can shoot the puck.
He's a quiet leader too. I think how Char and Bergeron were.
I love Coyle. I love Carlo.
But I don't think Charlie's that guy. I really don't.
Charlie McAvoy? I don't think so either. I don't think so.
He'll
get an A, but I don't think he's a captain.
No, I don't think he's a captain guy either. But that draft
Lazan, who has held his own in a top pairing.
He's been good. So the D. So we didn't notice the D until we didn't notice any problems with the D. We didn't notice that Chara and Krug were no longer there until the injuries happened, and they just they kind of just try to tape things together at the moment, right? Because everybody's getting hurt, and then John Morrison there. God help us all. So
God help us all that John Moore is in there, but I will maintain that no matter what has happened with the injuries in the defense and whatnot, moving on from Zdeno Chara was still the correct move.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I kind of now, I'm doing revisionist history as well. As the defense is looking the way it is because of the injuries. But
I maintained it from square one. Right when he signed with Washington. What was your reaction when he signed with Washington?
Oh, I think he should have retired here. I think he should have retired here and be in the organization. I think he's kind of like, me being older, the golden age of Boston sports was 01 to, 19, and now Brady left and the Chara left, and you're like, whoa, it's like ending. It's all ending.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
the longest tenured athlete is now Bergeron, and the second longest tenured athlete is David Krejci.
I know, right? And no one on the Red Sox because they got rid of everybody too. So, all right, Andrew, I'm gonna ask you one more quick question, then we'll have you plug your socials and all that fun stuff.
Sure.
Because I know you got to run in a little bit. So, what's your take on Don Sweeney as a GM? Quickly.
Good, not great, but
good, not great. Okay, I felt the same way because I just think his
Yeah.
draft has been he drafted Carlo. Pastrnak, did he draft Pastrnak?
He was the director of professional scouting.
All right, so
he
Chiarelli. Chiarelli
had
actually did.
dropping Pastrnak, no.
Okay, Chiarelli actually did. Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
So, some of his trade deadlines were like, Stepniak was just terrible. He got some bad guy. Like I haven't seen a Bruins GM beside Peverly and Kelly at the draft. At the trade deadline, do anything. That was the last one I remember that has been impactful. Like Rick Nash was a disaster, unfortunately.
Well, what about Marcus Johansson and Charlie Coyle?
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right. Yeah, you called me out. So this here. But so I would say that, but between Peverly and that, that's 8 years, 7-8 years, right? So that's got to go. But Andrew, I want to thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. I want you to plug your socials and all that fun stuff.
So I'm on Twitter at @JustYouKnowWhy, or my display name is Andrew is on the short shift, where I'm always plugging my podcast.
No, that's what you got to do, man.
Yep, and my podcast is at Short Shift Pod. My co-host is Thomas at Nostrum. He's very good. He's the brains behind the operation. Let's be clear on that one.
Is he down in Nashville or in Hartford or both?
He's down in Hartford. Yep.
So he's a whale. Maybe he's a Whalers fan.
He's yeah, I guess you could say that. Nostrum, and then I am a writer at Black and Gold Productions, blackandgoldhockey.com. And yeah, so that's the stuff that I do. Check out my articles, check out my podcast, and check this out.
Yep. All right, Andrew. I appreciate it, man. Be good. Always good to talk to a fellow Riverhawk, like I said. So be good, be safe, dude.
Take care, my friend.
Talk to you soon, man. Be good.
Bye.
Cheers. Okay. All right, everybody. I want to thank Andrew Johnson from the Short Shift Podcast for joining us. Now we're going to get into the Ask Papa Bruin. Now, I let Andrew go because I have a ton of questions. I'm going to try to answer them all. So as you can see on the screen, that I ask a question and the person can win a Big Bad Bruins Nation t-shirt. So here we go. There's a lot of these. And whoever has the best question, I will give them a Big Bad Bruins Nation t-shirt, which I'll show all you guys right now, in case you haven't seen them before. So, we got some shirts here. Whatcha Drinkin. We got the pasta shirts that have just been announced. And I don't know how to scroll down, but we got tons of stuff, So check it out on the link of the Shop Now button. Here's our Big Bad Bruins Nation shirt that you will win if you have the best question. So here we go. And we're going to go back. And here we go. And here we go. And here we go. All right, people. I evidently can't use Facebook all of a sudden. So I've become a complete brain dead using Facebook. So do give me some time here. Let me get back to, oh God. See, this is what happens when you can't have nice things. I had all my things up. I had everything ready. I had everything queued up. And of course, I can't get myself out of a wet paper bag. Let's try this again. Here we go. Let's just do this and get out of the creator studios and the business manager and all the other crap that Zuckerberg sells. Anyway, here we go. And we're off. All right. All right. And we'll try this again. All right. I'm going to make this bigger. Okay. Teresa asks, of all pro hockey players, past or present, create the ultimate Bruins team, also create their ultimate coaching staff. Jesus. Wow. Oh my God. That's a long question. I'll try to do it quickly. Oh, all pro hockey players, past or present, Bruins players? Bruins players, 5, starting 5. I'm going to go from what I know, not like old players, because I'm not that old. And I don't know if they play the same wing or anything. I'm going quick here. Of course, we're going to have Bork and Orr. We're going to have at center, we're going to have, Espo, Berge, and Neely. There you go. Goalie, Cheevers or Rask. Everybody's going to love that one. Coaching staff, Don Cherry. I don't know. Maybe Terry O'Reilly. I like those guys. Terry Manson. Do you feel you would be more entertaining play-by-play announcer? You would be a more entertaining play-by-play announcer than Jack Edwards. Or would you prefer to take his place and work with Brick? Oh, I love Brick, dude. Brick all day from Melrose. Brick all day. We need some supporting colorful phrase with your answer. Well, the Chinese mustard, the A-frames, and the tumbling muffin. I don't get it. So I'm not a Jack fan, just not. And I know Andy Brickley's just dying behind that plexiglass without getting huge lungies from Jack on there. Andy Hazel, not Gretel. That's Hansel. You can listen to one band for the rest of your life. Who is it? I promise for years I've settled on. This is a great question. I'm going to give this I'm going to give that a like. Andy, I'm going to write this down. And I always love music questions. Andy Hazel is one of my questions I'm thinking about now. This is going to be a long podcast. I hope you guys brought some food and water. One band for the rest of your life. Who could it be? Shit. I'm going to have to go with Led Zeppelin. I say close would be Iron Maiden for me, but maybe Led Zeppelin by a hair. What is the single best hockey mode that made the Bruins your favorite team? When I was little, I remember it. I drew Pete Peters as a brick wall. So I always liked goalies. So that was kind of the moment I really liked the Bruins. That was 82, 83. So I was about 8 or 9 years old. Mine was watching Cam at Maple Leaf Gardens. CAD. At Arby. Sorry. Didn't mean to call you Abby. How come the Bruins don't spend the money and get another top goal scorer? Because they're cheap. Jeremy Jacobs. Who is Jeremy Jacobs? Eric Ernst. Love that name. With the game on the line, it's a penalty shot to win the game. Who takes the shot? Team now of all time. Now, talk Bruins or of all time? I would say all time. I'd give it to Mario. And on the Bruins now, Marchand. Donna Lee. If your son or wife liked a different team, how would you react? We are a house divided. It could be fun. Well, I'd love to know what teams your family likes. My wife doesn't like hockey, so it's not answered. It'd be fun. Their teams would suck. It might be awesome. John J.C. Collier. Got to be Stan Jonathan beating Montreal. Bouchard to a bloody mess. Okay. All right. Heather, did you go to the parade for the Bruins in 2011? I did not go to the Bruins parade because this is a good story too. Ironically enough, it was my bachelor party, and we went down to Mohegan Sun. Then I happened to get a text message from my buddy who was at Foxwoods, because there was rumors and murmurings that the Bruins were going to come to Mohegan Sun. And my friends are getting all excited. And then I get a video from my friend and a text message saying, I'm standing next to Bergeron at the urinal at, I think was it Tahoe? What's the name of the club there in Foxwoods? And they, he showed me the video of them holding the cup and the lights and everything. I'm like, son of a bitch. It was like 8 miles away from the Bruins partying. What entry music would we play when you hit the ice? If I hit the ice with my face and fall, I don't know. Oops, I did it again by Britney. And if pump up music would be I don't know. Harvester of Sorrow by Metallica, because I'm going to bring the sorrow. Dave Everson, Bongo Bob. That's a good one too. I have to put that one down. Bongo Bob. I got to rifle through these. I'm trying to read everybody's. There's like 60 of them. If Tuukka wins the cup at any point before he retires, will Ryan Richard get a tattoo on his ass cheek of your group's logo and Rath's name on it? Damn straight, Dave Everson. I have to write you down just for that as one of the best questions here. Ryan Richard. Oh, I can't wait. I wanted Tuukka to win so bad 2019 to shut everyone the fuck up. Pam, if you could skate 1 hour, who would you skate with? My son. Best Star Wars movie and why? Empire, Boba Fett, Snow Troopers, Bounty Hunters, Han Solo, Carbonite. Harvey McCarthy, I know this guy. Who would you rather have? John Moore on the Bruins or Cam Newton back with the Patriots? Cam Newton, at least he could score touchdowns with his legs. John Moore couldn't do anything. All right, Mark Schwartzman. Who would cross the bridge of death? Must answer me. These 3 questions. It's a shrubbery. It's just a mere flesh wound. What be your name? My name is Sir Papa Bruin. What be your quest? My quest would be to have the black and gold with the carpet raised above your head. What's your favorite color? Red, the blood of my enemies. Bill Sakic, do you have choice beer for home and away games? IPA, double IPA, Burlington Beer Company, Exhibit A, Treehouse. All right, I'm going to have to go through these quick. I'm out of breath here. What is your favorite fight? Any Bruin from past or present? Cam Neely, Alf Samuelson. When he turtled, wasn't really a fight. Derek Levesque, if you give this season's team a theme song, what would it be? The Payback by James Brown. Matt Miller, what is your favorite Bruins outdoor game memory? Was not the Bruins game at Gillette Stadium because I was at that friggin' dumpster fire. I would have to say the Chicago game at we call it Notre Dame was pretty awesome, and also Marco Sturm scoring in overtime against Philly at Fenway. What's your favorite Jackism? Really, none of them, but I do like Tumbling Muffin. Who's your favorite all-time Bruin? Derek Michael. That was Marcel Dooley, by the way, with the Jackism. Oh my God, I'm out of breath. I might have to cut these short, people. It really sucks. Who's your favorite all-time Bruin and why? All-time Bruin? Shit, man. I don't know. I really liked Adam Oates. I was a big Adam Oates fan. Can I just have that shirt? No. Sorry, Ann. What is your favorite music genre? Why is it metal? I like all music genres, but metal, I just always, I grew up with Iron Maiden and all that stuff. And I guess, I don't know, just love the rhythm. It's melodic, Metallica, I don't know, 80s, 90s kid. When you beat cancer, what did you do to celebrate? Well, thank you, Paul. This is a great question as well. What did I do to celebrate? Besides hug my wife and my son and thank all my friends and family. I went to a heavy metal concert at the Palladium with my friend Matt to go see Kill Switch Engage. And if you guys know me, I love music very much. And that was basically my release. That is like my, my chapel, my church. That is where I go to be thankful, is going to concerts. That's why I miss them so fucking much right now. Where were you on February 22nd, 1980? Is that when I was 7 years old? I don't remember watching the Olympic Games. Sorry. All right. I think we're getting to the stretch run here. All right. I got to cut. All right. I'm going to do it. Where did I leave off? What play do you admire most past or present? He has never played for Bruins. I really like Eric Lindros. I was a big Eric Lindros fan. He just was a great player, but unfortunately cut short with all the concussions. What is the best player named? Not Bob Beers. I already said that one. Bob Beers all day. Bob Beers. If you have a beer with any current player, who would you pick? You gotta go with Marchand for sure. You gotta get barroom fights and shit. What was the best concert you ever been at TD Garden? I would say the old Garden, Aerosmith, New Year's Eve. I think 89. Tyson Williams, two-part question. Some people out there classify a hot dog as a sandwich. Oh, I love this one. Where do you stand on the subject? If you think it's a sandwich, would that make a cereal a soup? A hot dog is just a big, long casing of fun. And I got to get that Cane's relish on a kid. So it's not a sandwich. It's a individually wrapped piece of pleasure. Marissa Vara, how did you get to the idea of the Big Bad Bruins Nation? And okay, this is a great question. Marissa, I like the question, but listen to my first podcast and you'll hear the whole story. Okay. Pretty cool. How I started. I tell the whole story about that. So the first episode, check it out. How many Stanley Cups have the Bruins won since Delaware? No, that'd be one because Jacobs blows. If you could make one hockey trade, who would it be for a legitimate trade? Oh, God, I don't know, man. Mike, you got me there. I don't know. How many players other than the Canadians were on the 70s Bruins? I don't know that either. I don't know trivia. Any question, right? Not hockey related, but here it goes. This is Steve. And what Canadian province did Vince Carter as a star player and LeBron James as a rookie came to for an exhibition game with their teams? Oh, God, I would say Ontario, right? I don't know. That question wasn't for you. Oh, sorry, Steve, Dwayne. Scott Legge, what are the thoughts on just an original 6 playoffs? I think the league is too low. Well, can't go back to that. I like some of the teams in the league, so I admire how you bring it up your little Bruin. What is advice? This is from Kenneth. What's your advice you can give me with little Bruins? Wife is a Blackhawks fan. Sister is a Preds fan. If I was a Bruins fan, I'd be a Blackhawks fan. I just love that city. Went to a game there. Just great people. So there's a lot of competition coming from different directions. Help. Let them like who they like. You got to go that way. You could show them, my son just happened by osmosis, but if you liked another team, I wouldn't poop on them. Jack McCain, a poo-poo on it. I'm sorry. It is weird. I read beer, but wait. Okay. You want a beer? I want a beer. All team least favorite Bruin, Glenn Wesley, because he missed that fucking backhander versus the 1990 Cup final against the Oilers. How can you miss that net? Okay. That was good, Mike. Jordana, if a Bruins fan had to relocate out of Massachusetts, are they still a Bruins fan? Yes, hell yes, hell yes, hell yes. All right, that is it. And I'm going to try to make this quick. Now it's time for What You Drinking. God, my head hurts. That's a lot of talking. What You Drinking? I got some Danko from Exhibit A before my friend's 50th birthday party that we had outside because of the Rona, which was fantastic. Happy birthday, Rocco. That's R-O-C-K-O, because it's an 80s name thing we do. That's another story for another day. Also, my brother-in-law just dropped off a case of Treehouse. Half the case was for my birthday. My birthday's coming up on Friday. So what you drinking? I'll be drinking a whole lot of Treehouse. All right, everybody. I want to thank you for all your questions. I think the winner of today's shirt is going to be, oh man, there's somebody that turns from. I got to go wear the shirt. I'm going to go with, I might have to go. Let's see, who wrote the question about the, all right, let's see. All comments. Here we go. Some of these I missed because some people are still answering. Why don't you, would you hit the, would you answer the Bongo Bob? I like that one, Bongo Bob. I'm going to go with, damn. I'm going to go with Bongo Bob. Bongo, should I go with Bongo Bob? Yeah, I'm going to go Bongo Bob. Andy, great question too, but Bongo Bob made me think really, really deep, as did you, but made me think I could be a hockey player for 2 seconds. So Bongo Bob, you're going to wear a shirt. I will message you. And I want to thank you all for joining us again. You guys have been great. I want to thank you for your support. Couldn't do this without you. Thanks for following the Big Bad Bruins Bantah podcast. This will also be posted on the Big Bad Bruins Nation YouTube channel. And be sure to also check out, when you get a chance, Big Bad Bruins Nation. If you're not a fan, please join us. We're always welcome new family members. This is the longest podcast we did. I'm out of breath and I need to probably drink about 6 Treehouse. So please, please, please be safe and just love the black and gold, baby. That's all we got. All right. I will talk to you soon. Be safe and take care. Oh, yeah.